Hi, everyone, and welcome. Rebuilding Through and After Trauma, a podcast of healing, hope, and growth. So, welcome everybody to this evening's podcast. So, we're a day behind just because of Halloween, and we let everybody have their family time. And tonight we're going to do a little bit something different. I suppose what's coming out of the podcast is that people are asking about energy work, they're asking about EFT, essential oils, and all of these modalities that we're talking about. People want an understanding about it, and I understand that as well, because not all therapies are going to work for everybody. But it's great when we have that awareness. Okay, I'd actually like energy work. Actually, maybe hypnotherapy is more in alignment. Maybe I'm spiritual and I want to talk about the angels and explore that aspect of it, and the pendulum. So there's so many modalities that I've used, and again, that our speakers have used to help them rebuild, and still using them while they are rebuilding through the trauma. So anybody who's listening to Spotify, I'm going to work from a PDF, a PowerPoint. So again, anybody who kind of would like the PDF, you can just contact me. And I can send it on, because the visual images will show probably a little bit better what I'm talking about. And then also what I'll do is on my emotional wellness page, you can still use the Led with Wellness, it'll come up for that. I will post the pictures up there. So then you can identify, where we're talking about the energies and what we're talking about in that moment. So it'll be better, because I always believe that, if we have a visual, if we're talking about something and then we have a visual. Now, again, remember, anything that I'm talking about, we're not diagnosing. We're not saying that this is better than going to see your doctor. We're not saying that you use this in conjunction with whatever else you're doing. I've always said that. I've always been really passionate about that. No matter what, therapy you're going through at the minute, through a doctor or anything like that, you're always using these therapies as part of that, because there is, again, obviously some things that we can't work with, and that's okay. So, but again, all of these things are given as examples, and if you want to talk about them, then absolutely, to see if they're right for you, then absolutely reach out to me, no problem. But again, as I say, I'm giving this information out here now tonight, because this worked for me. These are, and every second week I will give, one of the therapies. I'll take one of the therapies and I'll give you all the information, that I have on it and that I use or that I teach in my clinic. So with that, I will just pop up screen share. Okay. So take some of these things off the screen. Okay. So tonight, what I'm going to speak about, because this is the first thing. So when Colin committed suicide, 22 years ago now, obviously the shock and the trauma, my life spiraled out of control. And again, my energy system's blocked. So my root chakra blocked. And what happened then is, when your root chakra blocks, which is at your coccyx bone, there's no energy coming to the rest of the body. And when there's no energy coming to the rest of the body, then all the rest of them start to slow down, and then, becomes a dense energy. So tonight I'm going to talk about understanding energy. And when we can understand energy, and how it flows around your body, and why it's important to keep a good flow of energy, especially if we've had shocks or traumas. It's really, really important to, or grief, like any of the pathological emotions, it's really, really important to move this energy around your body. So even though, Colin's death was really, really traumatic, we didn't do any healing around it. As I say, I always say that I went to counselling. But again, I just didn't have that. I didn't want to be there, because I didn't want to talk about it. Couldn't talk about it because, really, all the suppressed emotions that were going on. And then that led, to my two suicide attempts. So again, when we understand, suicide and depression, when we come to that level that, the energy is so dense, and we're in such a place that, we just can't see, for me personally, it was that thing of, I just couldn't see what the future was going to hold for me. Why was I even here? And of course, obviously, a lot of that was suppressed with alcohol as well. Alcohol and energy obviously doesn't go hand in hand either. So, now where I am today, I'm always kind of looking back at that journey. And I never look back at that journey now and say, oh my God, with guilt or with shame or anything like that, because I look back in that journey and I look back at it and I say, well, that's all I knew at the time. I didn't know any different. I didn't know about energy work. I didn't know, as I say, I knew about counseling, but even in my head at that time, I had a negative attachment to it. Like, I'm going here, because they think I'm crazy, or, I don't want to be here. I don't want to talk about it. So I had a negative attachment. But then again, that was the energy that I was in. And it really didn't matter, I believe now, because obviously of all the work that I've done, I believe now that it really didn't matter, you know, kind of what kind of came in my path at that time. I just wasn't ready. The energies were so dense. You know, my chakras were again so slowed down, that I really couldn't think positive. I really just didn't know what my purpose was, and not even what my purpose, because that didn't even come into my mind at the time. It was really like, why am I here? It was the same old thing, but just got worse and worse every day. So that's then. So why I'm working on energy work tonight is, why I'm getting an understanding about energy work tonight, is because this is what changed for me. So this is, when I was trying to find a way of coping, when I was trying to find a way, and it was that thing, and I said it on a podcast lately. It was just, I changed when the control, when it was taken out of my hands. So really, when I got postnatal depression with Eve, what was happening with me was that it wasn't about me anymore. It was like, I can't go down this path again. I don't want these feelings again. I don't want to end up, in that bed with, my whole family looking around me, and me having that guilt of, God, I've just caused this on them. So I didn't want to go back there. And as I said, I started to do some running, put my back out, and not to the point that it was, as I say, that I was crippled or anything like that. It was just to the point that, it was sore. And then I went to this lady, Chris, and everybody who would know me knows her now, because I always, always still, say that Chris was the one who changed my life. She just completely awoken something in me. I know now, obviously, what she did. She changed the energy in my body. She changed the energy fields that allowed me then to see that light, allowed me to feel those feelings. Because again, even when we've got grief and trauma, when we've got grief or lack of confidence or lack of self-worth, or, we've lack of trust, somebody might have, done something on us, and we're hurt. We put up such a protection in our heart, because we don't want to be hurt again. Nobody wants to feel this sadness. Nobody wants to, be in this vibration of this energy all the time. So we put up, a big barrier up here, in the heart. Sometimes it can go in the navel, but in the following weeks, I'll show you another thing on pathological emotions. But we put up this protection. And whereas it's good because it's a survival and it keeps us safe, we think it keeps us safe, but yet it still keeps us in a bit of the reptilian mind. It still keeps us on that kind of thing of, I have to be in control, I have to stay in control of this. And that was a huge thing for me, especially, around the suicides, was because that's all I had control of. I couldn't, control my mind, I couldn't control the thoughts, couldn't control the feeling. But that's all I had control of. So that's again why it led to me doing that twice. So then when I was going to the energy work, when everything shifted, that's then when I said, oh my God, this is me. I found a part of me, and it was only at the time, it was like a little spark. It was like a tiny little spark. But it was enough for me to say, God, I want more of this. What did she do to me? What did she have to do? I can't think negative. I felt so light. Now, it didn't last forever. but it lasted long enough for me to be intrigued by it, for me to be like, oh my God, and as I say, and anybody who kind of has gone through this will know that you can have all of this amazing stuff around you. You can have the family, you can have the children, you can have the husband, you can have the wife, you could have the money, you could have whatever it is, but yet you can have all of these amazing things around you, but yet there's a part of you that can't enjoy it. There's a part of you that, wants to enjoy it, but just can't, just can't feel that happiness for everything. And, then of course you have the double whammy on that, because you've the guilt attached to, oh my God, what is wrong with me? I've got all these amazing things in my life, I've got amazing people in my life, but I'm still not happy. So that is, again, when we're on a vibration, in a low vibration, when the energy is, really, stuck, then we can't. And we have to lift something. Something has to lift, something has to change, for us to, get that spark. And all we need is just, that tiny little bit of, and for me, it would have been hope. Like for me, it was just, I went to her on the Thursday, I think it was the Thursday evening, then the Saturday, I had to contact her and say, I don't know what you did, but it gave me that hope, because remember, I said, I didn't want this to leave. I just didn't, whatever she did, I didn't want it to go. I could be very present. I wasn't up in my head, as much, definitely, even I was up there, but I wasn't up there, in the negative form. I was up there and said, God, things are possible, Sharon. Maybe you can change, even to the point of my back, even to the point of my back. I was like, oh my God, I can't even feel that pain anymore. But I do know that I was put there. I do know that I had to feel that pain, to connect in with Chris. So that's what Chris did. When she worked on me, she did energy work. I had no clue what energy work was. I did not know what Reiki was. And she did it without, she incorporates it all into her therapies anyway. So it was a massage, with energy work, and it was Reiki. So again, it's kind of like how I went on the journey, because I contacted her and I said, I don't know what you did. And she just said that, well, Sharon, what I did was I did energy work, because your root chakra was blocked, and it was, quite dense, and there was no energy going to the rest. So, if I'm not having any happy endorphins, or I'm not having any energy flowing around my body, then, how can I be in that space of hope? And how can I believe that I can grow and move forward and heal, and heal from that grief? So that's how it started. And then on the Monday, I went to work and I met a lady. So Chris was saying, Sharon, Jeannie, really, you should do energy work, because I think you're really going to help a lot of people. I'm like, all right, yeah, okay. Went home and I Googled Reiki, and I was like, all right, okay. See you later, alligator. Because again, I would have lost a lot of faith. I would have had huge faith, when I was younger. I would have done all my prayers and everything like that. Probably in the conditioned mind, that we would be, in Ireland, of the Catholic Church at that time. But still, it was something that was quite close. But then once Colin died, I lost all of that, because I was like, well, why would you do that? Like, why did that happen? Because again, to the mind, where we talk about conflict, it's like we nearly prepare ourselves. Well, I did anyways, prepare myself for my parents to pass away, that we'd be okay, and that, we'd be okay if anything happens to them, we'll mind each other, and so on and so on. And then when it becomes that it's your sibling that passes, it's like the disbelief is huge. So for me, that would have been, I would have lost a lot of faith. Not that, when I looked up Reiki, it hadn't anything to do with religion. It didn't say anything about religion, but I was still kind of like in that thing of, that faith thing of God, well, this only happened a couple of years ago, and, Colin's gone. But anyways, I went to work on the Monday, and there was a lady in there, and I hadn't seen her for a while, and I just said, oh, hey, how are things? What are you doing now? She'd only come in for a cup of tea at the break time. And she says, oh, I'm doing energy work. And I was looking at her, and she says, yeah, I'm a Reiki master. I said, oh my God. I said, you won't believe it. I said, but someone after telling me on Saturday, that I should do that. I said, I Googled it. I said, and, I don't know about it. She says, why don't you come the following Saturday? She says, I'm doing a course. Why don't you come on it? And myself and another girl went on it, and that was it. It was like that, that feeling that I had the Thursday before with Chris. It was just amplified. And then I had a way then. So for me, again, because obviously with my trauma, I like control. I like, to be in control. I like the way things, now it would have been negative beforehand, whereas now it's a lot positive, a lot more positive. But again, I'm always working on myself anyways. But yeah, so it was just like now I had a way. I had a way of, amplifying this energy anytime that I needed. I could keep it, by self healing, by healing myself all the time. And I could see the changes then, as the time went on, as we evolved. So I'm going to give you the definition of energy. So that's what we're going to go into this evening. Okay. I'm mindful of the time because I can continue to talk. Okay, so the definition of energy. So energy work also refers to as energy healing. So some people are holistic healing. So you will hear of holistic practitioners, holistic healing, energy workers. You will be attached to, they'll be attached to all of those kind of names. So it's practice rooted in the concept that everything in the universe is made up of energy. So if I go back to that faith, my faith, whereas now I have huge faith, and anybody who knows me will know that, I have huge faith. I have two big pictures that probably scare some people when they come into the clinic. But again, I understand what it is. I understand it's an energy. I understand it's a universal energy. And my preference is to, again, have Mother Mary there, and have the Sacred Heart there, and work with the angels. So that's my preference. But again, it's all a universal energy. It's an energy that flows to and through us all the time. So again, this is, same thing with Reiki. It's an energy. It's the practice that's rooted in the concept that everything in the universe is made up of energy. And when we can understand as well that, everything vibrates, everything is vibrating. We're all a vibration. Everything vibrates at an energy, at a frequency. And this is why it's so important to keep our energies, aligned, keep our energies balanced. People say, "Oh, do I need to come to you every week, Shannon?" I was like, "No." The energy that people will come to me, and then the energy probably runs for about 12 to 16 weeks. It would stay really, really high. It depends. It actually depends on, kind of what's going on in your environment, what's going on, within yourself. But I always say, and I would see teachers, and I would see, a lot of professional people. I probably see them twice a year. Get the energy in at the start of the year, then at the second half of the year, just to keep, the vibration. Because like life goes on, and life, kind of moves for us as well. So, and we're all vibrating in the energies. And I should have actually brought my thing, but I'll do it next week. So I'll just show you how the energy flows around the body. So remember, if we're in a vibration that's negative vibration, and our own chakras and our own energy systems are quite, dense in energy, then it's all an attachment. So we can't, even if we do try, and we'll go in, subconscious will always pull back. Oh, this is familiar. Actually, this is why it doesn't work for me. This is why, if we get a bill and we pay the bill and then another bill comes in, we're on a vibration of attracting in the negative. So energy involves working with subtle energies within and around the body to promote balance, harmony, and healing. So if you think about it, if you become so relaxed, so deeply relaxed in the body, and the body becomes relaxed, we're talking about digestive issues, we're talking about fertility issues, everything that we're talking about on the podcast, fibromyalgia, we are talking about endometriosis. The more aligned and the more relaxed we can come in the body, the more that the body relaxes and the organs relax around it. Doesn't mean always that these ailments leave us. That's why we're bringing a lot of awareness to that. Even when we talk about MRE's endometriosis, that's not gone. It's still there, but it's she has learned to like decrease the pain. She's learned ways of coping, healing methods, to improve the healing on it all the time. So things get better. And eventually, I do believe, from my own work, that if we keep at it, and we keep working on it and we keep working on these things, that eventually, yeah, the body heals itself for everything. Have I got it there? There's an amazing book, and I mentioned it already. The body knows the score. Like, the body knows, what we need to do, but we need to bring the body into harmony, back into homeostasis, to start to say, okay, it's safe for me to heal now. I'm not going to be up here in high with the adrenaline and the cortisol going. And we need adrenaline and cortisol. We need some of that sometimes, and we'll talk about that when I do the subconscious, conscious, and subconscious, and the amygdala. Like, we need that, because otherwise, if we were all just so in harmony and so relaxed, a bus would come, we're like, actually, the bus isn't going to hit us. No, your amygdala's always looking for a threat. So your amygdala's always out there saying, looking for a perceived threat to save you from that bus. But unfortunately, through stresses, through anxieties, through worries, through environmental stressors and anxieties or worries, the amygdala is kicking off the whole time. So we're getting adrenaline, we're getting cortisol every day into the body, which again, we all know, that, it leads to chronic fatigue. It leads again to adrenal fatigue. So we're tired, our sleep is disrupted. All of these ailments then start to happen. So there is an image there of the chakra system, and then the substantial bodies that are attached. So I will put that up in the Facebook for anybody who wants it. So again, we've got the etheric, we've got the emotional, we've got the lower mental, we've got the higher mental, we've got the casual, we've got the slow, we've got the integrated, we've got the spiritual, we've got the substantial energy points then, which is your soul star, your thymus, your hara, and your earth star. So, anybody who's listened to that will be like, oh my God, that's why, have a look at the visual and just look at all of these things. So I work very much with the emotional, mental, spiritual, and astral body. So I work with those bodies a lot, because if we've got a physical ailment, 99% of the time, probably 100, if I'm going to put it out there on YouTube, there's a physical attached to it, or an emotional attached to it. The physical ailment is an emotional attachment. So I'm always working on these bodies. And these bodies, I can't do it here now. These bodies need to, we need a protection out there, so that, all these energies and these bodies are so cleansed, so clear, that even if somebody did come with something, and even if I did, get some news from, a doctor or something, that these are not so all attached onto me that, I react. It's more about responding, that the body's nice and calm, the body's nice and relaxed, so these energies then can grow out stronger and stronger. So really, from the visual, and they're all attached then obviously to your chakras, and then you've got your auras, and you'll hear people talking about auras all the time. Some people see auras all the time, but we're not just this body. We're not just this, when we see, and it's funny, because I do always say that sometimes people do put their heads down when they see me coming, because it's like I will know somebody has, and that's not, as I said before, this is not a gift. This is just, again, coming out of my head into my heart all the time. So it's not that, I've got this special gift that I can see, if people's got issues. No, I know from their posture. I know from, again, the way they walk up. I know from their facial expressions. I know, again, from the first word that come out of their mouth, I know if there's something going on. And of course, then obviously, with what I've done and how long, I'm 10 years now working with energy. So there's going to be so many things that I'm going to pick up on. But we do it as well. We do it every single day. We go out and we might go with friends who might be naysaying, and might be giving out. And not that they're bad people. It's just that, they're in that cycle of negativity. We're attaching onto it. We're taking on all of these energies. So what happens then is it goes in And our body then is trying to figure out, is it mine? Is it something else? Is it something else? So like we're doing it all the time. We're tapping into energies all the time. It's just about becoming more aware of it. And more aware, not for anybody else, but for yourself. Like, what do I want? How do I want to feel every day? Do I want to feel, no, we're not going to have it 100% of the time, but like, how do I want to feel the majority of the time? Do I want to feel uplifted? Do I want to feel lighter? Do I want to feel, more energized? Do I want to be able to emotionally regulate myself? So remember, as we're from children, we're emotionally regulated from our parents. So if my mother was anxious, more often than not, I'm anxious. If and this is 110% not a thing on bashing parents. It absolutely isn't. Because again, it's like where I said, where I go back years ago, like they're only working with what they know, so they couldn't have done anything different. Sometimes we go into it and people think, oh, I wish they did this different, but they couldn't have. So it's up to us now when we get into this energy and when we're brought to a podcast like this, or when we're like me, when I was brought to Chris, it's when we're brought to this that we say, okay, wow, maybe I was blaming somebody else for a long time. Maybe I was putting this energy that, I had, a destructive childhood, or maybe my childhood was grand, but, my confidence and self worth. So all of these things, how we're emotionally regulated. School is a huge thing as well. Like we go into this at 5 or 6 and we're going into this big mad school, like, where at home, this is what our parents tell us, then we're going in, now somebody else is telling us this. I actually remember a lady who's a brilliant singer, who's a very good singer, and she would have been on one of our podcasts and our Inner Circle. And a teacher told her after her Holy Communion that she should never sing again, that she ruined it, that it was terrible. That person never sang up until, we all came together, and then it was building the confidence and building. But then one word somebody said to her, nearly defined her, and that lack of confidence and then that lack of self-worth had to be rebuilt. So this is why, it's not about going back to the past and saying, oh yeah, this is this, that. It's just, if there's something, a pattern or a cycle that you keep going back into, emotional eating is huge. It's a huge one. And I work with that all the time. I had it myself. I used to weigh 17 stone, putting it back on, and then I went to 8 stone too. Still, it wasn't about me loving myself. It was about, like, if someone said, oh God, Sharon, if you only lost the weight, it looks so good. Then when I went to 8 stone too, like, oh, you'd want to put back on the weight now, Sharon, you look gaunt. So it was always about other people. But I never felt worthy enough to keep it off. I never felt worthy enough, because food was my control. If I was sad, I ate. If I was happy, I ate. Any emotion came with food, and alcohol came with that as well. Then as I grew older, I'm probably not older, I probably was drinking too young anyways, but that came as well. So they were my two emotional crutches, and still to this day, whereas I don't drink anymore, but it's a thing of, food could come up at any time, but I'm more aware of it now. So I catch it. And this is what happens when you start opening up your energies, and when you start understanding energies and understanding energy systems, things start to change. It mightn't be that, as I said, for me, somebody said to me, oh God, wasn't that amazing that you had that shift? And it was amazing. It absolutely was amazing. But as I said, it was just giving me that little bit of hope. So some people have absolutely, and I've seen it in my clinic, people just say, that's it, something shifts, something lifts, and they feel fantastic and they're ready to move. But other people can be quite subtle, because again, you don't know how many of these subtle bodies, that you have to work through. I always say we're like an onion. You take one layer off, another layer says, hello, here I am. I remember Roisin years ago when I said to her, like, oh, when am I going to be healed? Like, I used to go up the north and I said, when am I going to be healed? She's like, Sharon, like, you're always going to be working on yourself. And I'm like, really? And now I understand it's not hard work anymore. It's still, you still have to be aware. You still have to, catch yourself sometimes and say, right, Sharon, you need to do meditation today. Right, Sharon, you need to do a little bit of journaling, whereas again, for me, I keep on top of that all the time, because I don't want to, because I'm under no illusion that, and I said this before, I'm under no illusion that Depression isn't going to, come back and, say, hello, here I am, because, it's still there. The thoughts are still there. It's just they don't have control anymore. But if I allowed myself to sit in it, 110% they take over. They're still there. Sometimes I was telling somebody there lately that I was hoovering. I was hoovering away, and I was just like, sure, what are you doing here, Sharon? Like, what are you doing here really? And I was just like, isn't that very interesting now? But I'm hoovering away. Probably correct that I was hoovering. But again, it's just that thought says, well, what are you doing here, Sharon? Now, if I wasn't strong enough, and if I hadn't done the healing and, the hypnotherapy and all of these things that I've done, then I definitely 100%, 10% believe that I could have got caught up in that. Like, I heard it, I recognized it, basically just told it to shut up, not listening, not listening. But again, that's a stage that you would have to come to be able to just recognize and say, wow, that's still there. And I believe, always that, I do this work and I continuously work on myself because like that, they're there, but they don't have control anymore. And I have no intention of letting them have control. Okay, so the energy system. So our body processes a complex energy system that includes various pathways responsible for the flow of energy. So let's explore the components. So then you have your meridians. So in the, and we'll do some EFT. So this touches on meridians as well. So in traditional Chinese medicine, meridians are channels through which vital life force energies flows, so known as qi or ki, flows in the body. So there are 12 major meridians connected to specific organs and functions. So energy work aims to ensure the smooth flow of energy through these meridians. So if anybody has been in my clinic, they will know that I've got a picture. I've got a picture of the chakras, and then I've got a picture of the 12 meridians. And I'm going to show you here. So anybody who is on the Spotify will have to look at the image. So again, 12 meridians, they run the central line of the body. And then again, they're attached to the chakras, they're attached to the subtle bodies. So when you're doing energy work, when we're working with energy work, we are, changing the flow of the energy. So some, again, shocks and traumas will block them. Some will slow down if, again, if there's adrenaline and cortisol going to the body, if there's stressors all the time, anxiety, worries, fears. So there's the stomach, there's the spleen, there's the small intestine, there is the heart, the bladder, the kidneys, the pericardium, the triple warmer, the gallbladder, the liver, the lungs, and the large intestine. So I'll show you another thing that goes with the pathological emotions. So, when these are disaligned, or unbalanced or imbalanced, or whatever way you want to go, when there's no flow in the body, because of shock or because of trauma, because we're up in the head all the time, because there's stresses, there's anxiety, and people will say, oh God, I've got palpitations in my heart, Sharon, or, I've got a pain. Like some people will tell me they've got constant kidney infections. That's all part of being peed off. The liver again, holds anger, resentment, frustrations, all of these. So, when we have these pathological emotions attached all the time, the chi, the key of the energy, slows down. So if that slows down, then there's not that flow again that can flip off these pathological emotions, and that can keep the body then in flow of, again, causing ailments. So there's so many ailments there. But again, the spleen is all about the guilt center. If we're holding guilt, which I would have done for a long time, with Colin passing, saying that I should have come home if I'd only come home, and that spiraled. So for me, the spleen, the guilt, and the responsibility center. And if we look at that, we look at it in a couple of weeks. But if we look at that, then there's other aspects: self-judgment, self-criticism, not deserving the best, not deserving of the good life that we deserve. Because of course, if I'm in guilt, and I'm feeling guilty, which guilt is an illusion, but that's another day's talk. But if I'm in that, then how would I believe that I deserve a good life? How would I believe that I deserve to be happy? I wouldn't, because I'm sitting in an energy of guilt, in the spleen, And again, if we're looking at how the body detoxes itself with the flow of energy and keeps everything flowing, if it's stuck there for long enough, we're not going to move that energy. So the meridians are very important, because again, they are, when we go into pathological emotions, I will show you an image of it, but again, to me, because I've worked in this area for 10 years, that, where it says the liver will hold anger, sometimes if I'm working with someone, they might be holding that in the bowels, they might be holding that in the heart, they might be holding, in the throat. A lot of people might get caught up in the throat when they get anxious. So it's just coming up, not speaking their truth and not trusting. So there's just so much. And that's why, when people come in, or people contact, I'll know from just talking. I'll know from, from talking, or again, I'll know from the ailment that's going on. Okay, where are we looking? What's blocked? And more often than not, if I'm being really, really honest, more often than not, it's always the fact that the survival center, the root chakra, is always blocked. So, and as I say, you would know that even from somebody's posture, you would know that if they're blocked, or the way they speak. I'm like, okay, well, there's not enough energy going there for that person to be lifted. And where am I going now? Okay, so chakras. Okay, where are they? So chakras are derived from the ancient Indian transition. Chakras are energy centers located in the body's midline. So chakras are center line of the body, and they run up the way. So there are 7 main chakras, which are associated to different aspects: physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. I always bring in there as well, because I'm working with the hypnotherapy. So I bring in that aspect of changing that as well. So energy work involves, energy work through the chakras involves balancing and activating these chakras to promote overall harmony. So if we look at the image, so the image shows the chakras running up along the body. So you've got down here, number 1 is your survival, and that's your root chakra. The next one then is in the navel, so just above the navel, and that says there it's your pleasure center. So again, it's your power center. I always say this is where we stay. If I've got something going on, and I'm trying to stay in control, I'm trying to just get through the day, because I'll be grand, I'll be grand. Then, we're in that power center, trying to stay in control. And this happens a lot with arguments. When there's arguments, and we're trying to stay in control, but there's conflict in the mind that says, this is the way it is. The emotional win 110%. Anytime there's conflict in the mind, the emotional win. So we go in there to the stomach, and people would say, oh my God, I've got butterflies in there, Sharon. I really feel sick in the morning. It's the thought that's going around that's triggering in here, sending a signal to the brain, I'm not okay. Heighten something, which is flight. Switch something off, which is again fight. And then you've got your freeze. So some people mightn't even be able to get up. They mightn't even be able to do anything. Then you've got one in here and under your breastbone, and that is called your solar plexus. And this is all again, about we'll go with the guilt, and it's about confidence and self-worth. And I always go in here for self-love as well, because if we have self-love, then all the rest of along here will align. And then you have to remember where the meridians are, what's attached to all these, the spleen, so then we'll go into the heart. So your next one is in your heart, and that's all the grief and the disappointment. And again, grief is huge, because we can be grieving somebody who's passed, obviously, but we can always grieve things as well, that mightn't have happened, that things didn't work out the way we wanted to, or the way that we perceived it that it would. So grief is a huge one. And as we say in the heart, grief hurts, and sometimes we put up that protection so we won't get hurt again, and we won't feel that pain again. But unfortunately, that's again, a heavy energy to carry, heavy energy to carry. Then you've got your throat chakra, and that's all about, speaking your truth, or, if anything's been done onto us and we don't trust. It's huge. Then that'll end up with thyroid, issues and stuff like that. So if somebody says to me thyroid, I'll always work on the throat chakra straight away. Then you've got what's called your third eye. It's all about focus and clarity, but we have to remember as well, on a physical level, that's your prefrontal cortex. Behind that is your limbic system, your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. So when we've got symptoms, this has just flipped the lid, and the energy isn't going around. So your amygdala is going to be even heightened. And if the amygdala is perceiving a threat, that's all it's looking for. So clarity, focus. The amount of times that I've had people come in and say, I'm going through the menopause, Sharon. I'm definitely going through the menopause. My focus is gone. I can't remember, can't remember anything. I'm definitely going through the menopause. I'm going to go straight up here and up to the third eye, and I'm going to bring, a lot of calmness, back into the parasympathetic nervous system to bring it down, to calm it. I'm like, oh my God, I can see clearly. I'm like, I'm going on HRT nearly, when it was just, again, the third eye was just completely overworked. And remember, if we're stressed, if we're anxious, if we're grieving, if we've got trauma, like, our body's overworked, and it's already trying to keep us safe. It's already doing a good fight for us. But if it's overworked, the whole body then everything starts to kick in, and then it's in a fight every day. Gotta come back to, gotta try and bring ourselves back. Not try, because if we try, we won't succeed. So we've got to bring ourselves back to that, to a space. Now, some people have never been there. I 110% was never in the energy that I was when Chris did that energy work for me. I never felt that. Now, maybe I did when I was a child, but again, like that, I was, maybe I wasn't aware of it, but I'd never felt that sense that I had. And that's what happens when you do energy work as well. You come back into your own body for the first time since you were born, because remember, up until the age of 7, we're completely, our belief systems, everything, we're completely conditioned. Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, this is right, this is wrong. So when we do energy work, and when you balance out all the, the chakras and the meridians and the auras and the energy fields, you come back into self. You find that divine energy, and that's what it is. It's a divine energy coming in, shifting and clearing. But you become that energy, and that's what I felt. I felt like it was me, but I'd never felt that before. So it's huge. But then you've got one here at the top of your head, it's crown. Now you've got millions of chakras. It's got millions of chakras, but I focus on the 7 main. I focus on a North Star and one above. But the crown chakra then. So if you think about it, we've got 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day. You're only catching 5% of them. 95 is playing a story. It's playing, oh, what happened yesterday? What happened last year? What happened 20 years ago? All these negative images, negative feelings, negative sensations and emotions that we've been holding on to. And I always do it in my clearance for the last few days, the last few weeks, the last few months, the last few years, all the way back to the little girl or boy. So we've been holding on to these, playing a story. And that's why sometimes, we always know when we play a story, it gets legs. Jesus, was it that bad? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Then we'll add another little bit, and then it grows another leg, and it grows another leg, because the subconscious mind loves feeding it. But when we become so relaxed, in the mind and the body, so balanced, eventually that reptilian mind starts to calm down. Says, God, I'm safe. I'm so calm. And once you get that sense, you're going to want more of it. You really, really want more of it. Okay, so the auras. So the auras then refer to the energetic fields surrounding our bodies. It is believed to contain vital information about individuals' physical, emotional, spiritual state. So the aura is huge. And anybody who can see the screen, that's what our body is meant to look like. We're supposed to, be in this flow, this good vibration. Nobody's really supposed to be able to trigger us. Nobody's really supposed to annoy us. We find that people do. So that could be, we could be in a heightened situation with a boss in work. It could be our parents. We could be triggered all the time into, why did you say that? why is this happening? Why is that happening? So when something like that happens, or when we're around a couple of people, and we see it all the time when we're around certain people and we walk away and we're just so drained, so tired, just saying, oh my God, and we nearly have to, the next time we're meeting those people, we really have to up the ante to go and meet them. Okay, over time. But anyways, yeah, so you up the ante for that, or the energy field. So if your auras aren't strong enough, this is your auras that I was talking about earlier, so arms out. So if you put your arms out, the distance that your both arms are out, that's how much your aura fields should be protected. That nobody should be coming in. They should be lit up, high vibes, as positive as possible. And when I talk about positivity, it's not about being, people just say, oh my God, Sharon, it must be great, and I'm like, I'm not up here all the time. I have to come back down to the real world. But it's just different. It's just different that, I won't be reacting to certain things anymore. I'll react to certain things, all right, but I won't be allowing them attached to me, because I'll cleanse my auras. I'll realize it for what it is. I'll understand it. And then when you do energy work, and obviously because I'm always, self-healing myself, energy work helps cleanse this. It strengthens and protects your auras. So that's why then, when people come and, I'll be doing energy work on them, and got all the girls as well who have been here on the podcast as well. When I'm going and I'm doing that, they may be, oh God, Sharon, my boss doesn't even bother me anymore. They're still there, but they're not bothering me because you're protected, cleansed. You're back in your own energy. We don't need anybody else. But yet we're always like, oh God, I need to help this person, I need to help that person. That's okay. As long as we're not attaching to the energy, And if we're doing something, we always should be doing something without expectation, because if we expect something, then if it doesn't happen, if somebody doesn't show up the way we show up out of love, then we're going to attach onto a disappointment, a sadness, or an anger. So again, it's that thing of, always cleansing, always strengthening your auras for optimal health, for the energy to flow through. So that means then nobody else's energies are affecting your energy. And we can see that when we react to certain situations. So energy flow. So the energy within and around the body impacts your overall health and well-being. When the energy flow becomes disrupted or blocked, so that's through shock, that's through trauma, that's through, again, you mightn't have had a dysfunctional childhood, or you might have parents who were really good at emotional regulating, but again, just over time, just with work colleagues, just with your own lack of confidence and lack of self-worth, your own belief systems in yourself. So again, it doesn't have to be the shock or trauma. It could be just something, COVID, even my own root chakra, because I was like, oh my God, I have to close my clinic. When am I going to go back to work? It put me into for my root chakra, because I had to go into survival to say, oh God, what am I going to do next? How am I going to help all these people when I can't put my hands on these people? So for everybody, COVID brought a huge, disruption to the energy. So then, obviously, when it's disrupted or blocked, it can lead to physical, emotional, or spiritual imbalances. And we'll add mental in there as well. So energy work aims to restore and enhance the flow of energy, resulting in improved vitality, emotional stability, and overall wellness. And that's the thing. Twice a year, find somebody in your town, find somebody that you connect with that can just do, that you trust, that can do the energy work with. Amazing. And I believe, look, people say, oh, I only want to, come to this person or that person, I really, now I'm putting it out there, but I really believe that, and I only know from the people that I've trained, and I suppose and people that I've trained with, people don't go into energy work for anything other than love. Because you cannot do energy work if they're not coming from a space of love. It just won't flow. Their root chakras will be disrupted. Everything will be disrupted. Energy work, if you find an energy worker, practitioner, a healer, they have to become, and who like really, really wants to help you, they have to be coming from love, because the energy won't flow in either way. Because even if it's Reiki is on the 7.83 hertz, and that's unconditional love. So I have to be in that vibration to even want to help you. So for me, people sometimes are a bit nervous. I get it. But, for me, if people are just coming with that love and they just want to help you so, so much, um, then, absolutely, I believe that they will. And I don't believe that people stay in business long if they're not coming from love. And I think that goes for every company, every business. So it's important to remember that energy work is a complementary practice and should not replace any traditional medical or psychological treatment. So absolutely, it's the same thing. If you've got mental illness, then you would have to go through psychiatry, a psychiatrist, to come to energy work. So it's the same thing, if you're on medication, then you do not come off your medication to do energy work. And I remember somebody before, who was really, really excited, because of the energy that the release that they got, but it's that, oh yeah, no, I can come off my medication. No, no, you stay on the medication and we work in conjunction with the doctor. So, always, always, these are huge and people can have absolutely massive transformations. But like all transformations, we have to go on that journey with what we have. We just don't come off, things. It's all works together. That's why I think, and we see it now anyways, even hypnotherapies in hospitals. Hypnotherapy is, an energy work. We can see it with reflexology in all the cancer care places. It's amazing to see. They're doing a lot now of awareness and energy work in, for miscarriages. I always believed, and I still say to this day, you need people in there to heal that trauma for miscarriages, because as we move forward, that grief, that if it's not healed, that grief then stops us from, having another baby. So it's huge, it's huge. So it's always advisable, yeah, to contact if you've got any, mental health issues, again, obviously suicidal, or if there is anything from the past that, again, that you want to release, but yet you're just not clear on it. And again, look, for me, I always ask the questions anyways before somebody comes. I will always know if it is something that we can do right now, or is it something that we can do at a later date? Because I believe when some people are brought into the energy, it mightn't be for right now. Might need to put some plans in place, but then, in time, it can definitely be very, very beneficial. And we can always do recordings and everything like that as well anyway. So benefits of energy work on the emotional body. So this is huge, and you can see it here on the little picture. So stress, anxiety, and fear. So stress, anxiety, and fear are common experiences that significantly affect our emotional well-being. So let's explore how these emotions can impact our energy systems and the potential benefits of energy work in addressing them. So the effect of stress on the body. So we can, again, have hair loss. We can have brain fog. Some people come in and tell me they've got menopause. We can have brain fog. We can have dry mouth, muscle aches and pains. We can, in the lymphatic system isn't, working at its highest potential. So again, obviously, then we can get ailments. We can be quite tired, quite fatigued. Touching into the thymus, and releasing all of those is great, along with energy work. So the lungs can hold grief as well. So again, COVID would have brought a lot of that as well, even though a lot of people would associate it with COVID. Yeah, absolutely. We can put that out there. But, the grief of what happened. Heart issues, the digestive tract, I work a lot with IBS. I work a lot with, again, anything to do with the stomach, fertility, that's in their, bowels movements, some people are constipated, some people will have diarrhea, some people's anxiety, really stems from there. So obviously we've got the immune system. People will come in with viruses 3 or 4 times a year. They will catch everything going. But that's again the impact of stress on the body. So the reproductive organs, the internal organs, obviously reproduction if we're stressed. when we think we can't become pregnant, and that stress of all the time, of every month looking at the pregnancy test and being disappointed, and puts another stress on next month and the next month and the next month. So energy work can completely relax all of this. Skin, always, for me, people have eczema, psoriasis, all of these things, they come with stress, joint pain, and bone pain. So all those things, affect the body when the energy when we've got stress, fear, or anxiety. So when there's disruption in the energy, when we experience stress, anxiety, or fear, our energy systems can be disrupted or imbalanced. So these emotions can create energetic blocks or excess energy in certain areas. So heightening or hindering the natural flow of the energy through the body. So it stops. Some go into fight or flight, so some heighten. So again, palpitations. I feel that every day. Some people are caught up in the throat. I feel that the throat is closing. Some people have those butterfly feelings every single day. Some people have fibromyalgia, the real chronic pain of the body being tense. So this disruption can manifest in various ways, such as physical tension, emotional overwhelm, and a sense of mentally drained. But when we experience stress, anxiety, or fears, our energy system can be disrupted or imbalanced. These emotions can create an energetic block or excess energy in certain areas, hindering the flow of energy throughout our whole body. So when Colin died, my root chakra blocked off. Now, it was probably blocked before that because I had other stuff, going on. So that, but it definitely shut off. But that means then when there was no flow of energy coming into my root chakra, down at my coccyx bone, then there was no flow of energy coming into my stomach, and there was no flow of energy coming in here. There's no energy coming in here. So of course, I was so caught up in my head the whole time because I was caught up in my head the whole time because I was blocked. So there was no flow of energy to even give me that light. So, so this disruption can manifest in many ways, such as physical tension, emotional overwhelm, which I had, which I couldn't cope, which I was like, oh my God, what am I even doing here? I can't even cope. And in that moment as well, when you think about it, now that I can look at it, logically, my family had already lost, my parents had already lost a son, my siblings had already lost a sibling, but that feeling was just so overwhelming. It was just, that I didn't belong here. I was better off gone. It was just an overwhelming feeling that I had. But again, it was because, on top of anxiety, on top of, all the grief, on top of everything else, it just overtook my whole body. And again, mentally drained. So the impact on the chakras. So the impact of energy on the chakras the impact on the chakras and meridians with stress, anxiety can specifically impact the chakras and the meridians. So the chakras, how stress impacts the chakras. So it's an intense emotions can cause certain chakras to become overactive or underactive, so leading to imbalances in certain associated to physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of our being. So, for example, fear will affect, the root chakra, leading to a feeling of insecurity and lack and ungrounded. When the root chakra is blocked, so again, through traumas, through fears, through worries, and really for me, and that's why I'm saying sometimes it can be in different parts of the body. When I'm working with people, I would usually, more often than not, and it's not with everybody, so that's why I always work with the person who comes into my room. So I have to work with the person. I don't put everybody, and don't do the same thing for everybody, because some people come and say, oh, my friend was here, and I do be kind of laughing, because I was like, oh, I might be doing the same thing, as the friend got, because again, everybody's different, and I only work with the person who's in the room. So like that, when we talk about fear, more often than not, for me, a lot of people have the fear in the solar plexus, just under the breastbone. So again, just, but definitely grounded, and lack of grounded, just not being grounded, just not being in the present moment. I'm either thinking ahead, future pacing, what's this going to happen? What's going to happen here? Or I'm thinking about the past. I'm thinking, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that, and that's really when you know that the chakras are imbalanced when we're feeling like that. And then the meridians. So the stress and anxiety can result in imbalances within Pacific meridians, disrupting the flow of vital life force energy, which can result in physical symptoms or emotional distress arising in the correspondence of organs and body parts connected to the meridian. So liver, the kidneys, the spleen. I'm going to the toilet all the time. If my digestive system, if I've got constipation, if I've got diarrhea, big signs that the meridians, and if the meridians are off balance, I can guarantee you that the chakras are off as well. So there's just not enough flow in the body. That's why we sometimes do EFT as well, just to keep the energy flowing in the body. So there's so many ways, that energy work can impact. So many ways, that it can impact you, can impact, your life, and your future. Future to me is the best, because it's that thing of, gives us that lift. We see that actually I have this inside of me, and it changes everything. A little bit of work, it gives you confidence, it gives you self-worth, it gives you the belief in yourself that you can do it, gives you the belief in yourself that you are important, that you do matter. And that understanding as well that it's okay to feel emotions. Like, I don't try and take all these pathological emotions away from people. What I always say to people is that, the events happened. It just means they don't hold any basis in you moving forward now. They happened, they were part of your story, they were part of your life, but they don't hold any basis now moving forward. So now we're kind of looking at our emotions, in a different light, and saying, okay, oh, that came up again. I remember that feeling, that emotion, but now we work on it. It's not about hiding them anymore. It's about working on what shows up all the time. And you can only get that when you get that sense of energy, when you get that flow around the body. And just, it's so amazing. Like, same thing with hypnotherapy. It's like when all of those things that used to bother you just don't seem to bother you anymore. You find that inner peace. And actually, that's where I'll be giving away every Friday now. There'll be a free hypnotherapy, or not a hypnotherapy, there'll be free meditation, a healing meditation on my YouTube channel. So definitely touch into that. I think the first one actually is a heart meditation. I love the healing heart meditation, and they all work. Like, some people say, oh no, I don't think that'll work. They absolutely 110% do. Your subconscious mind doesn't know who I am. It doesn't know that, oh, this is Sharon. You might say it, but the subconscious mind doesn't know who I am. It's continuously working. It's just taking on all this positivity. It's just taking on this healing. It's just taking on this, and letting this go, so really, if it's something, just they'll all be posted either on the my wellness page, but they'll all be actually in the YouTube. So again, if you want to subscribe, you can get a tick when it comes on. So this image here, and this is the one, the main one that I wanted to show everybody. I actually forgot I had it here. And I'll put this up on my page tomorrow. I just want everybody to have a look at it. Anybody who's reading it or listening to this, have a look at it tomorrow, because it's huge. And you'll probably see it a little bit better than here on the screen. So it's huge. It's so important. The awareness is important. You might say, oh my God, it's like some people who'd have been in the room, like, oh my God, I have that. Yeah, definitely I have that. So it's not about saying, yeah, I have that. It's becoming awareness of saying, oh, that's what I've been holding. Oh, that's what that's connected to. Now, the only question you have to ask yourself is then, do I want this anymore? We can understand that we can release them. We can let them go. We can move forward from them. We can heal from them. Then the only questions you have to ask yourself is like, do I want to hold on to this anymore? And if the answer is no, then, there's so much out there. Find someone who does energy work. Find someone who can give you some more awareness, or reach out, ask the question. Ask the question, because sometimes we have to look at, what is it going to take for us to love ourselves? What is it going to take for us to heal ourselves? What is it going to take for us to, step into our power? And we have to ask that question. What's it going to take? And it could be energy work. As I say, I'll be giving some more therapies as we go on. Energy work was the first one I wanted to do because it's my big thing. Like even when I went into hypnotherapy, I said, "Sit now, I'm going to do hypnotherapy. I won't be doing energy work anymore." Then somebody will come and sit in front of me who'll have a blocked root chakra or navel, and I'll be thinking, all right, you'll have to jump up in the bed now. So I was thinking, for hypnotherapy, that I'll be getting rid of the bed. People will be sitting on my lovely couch. I was like, oh no, you'll have to jump up in the bed. So, I'll never move out of energy work. I know that now, because I love it and I'm guided, and I bring in the angels and I bring in the divine and I bring in all of these energies, this universal life force energy. So, it's just, a combination of a powerful, powerful energy that creates change. Okay, so energetic protection. So energy work practices can assist in creating energetic boundaries. So then again, if I have to go back into an environment that isn't, or work that isn't, great, or healthy or positive, then I put a shield around the energy. It helps put a shield around it to protect us from external stressors or negativity. And we kind of get into that energy then of just knowing, like, that's that person's stuff. I don't need to be taking it on. Like, not my monkey, not my circus. And it's like what Ashley said, there one day that I said to her, like, something about, why be in the chaos? Like, come away from it. Why do we need, you have to, if we're always caught up in chaos, or we're always caught up in drama. I think I said to her, why do you want to be attached to the drama? So if we're always attached to that, then we have to ask ourselves, what part of us is liking that? But then the second question you have to ask, what part of that's serving us? None of it. None of it. You have to be able to say shield our energies from external stressors, external energies, because again, what all it does is it manifests in us as anxiety or fear. We're attaching onto it all the time. So self-awareness and empowerment. The energy work can enhance self-awareness, helping individuals identify and address the root causes of stress, anxieties, and fears. By understanding and working with their energy systems, individuals can take active roles in their emotional well-being. And we've seen that. We've seen that from everybody on the podcast. Everybody so far on the podcast has used energy work, has, worked with the energy through essential oils, through hypnotherapy, through energy work, through EFT, through all of these, reflexology, through all of these like amazing therapies. And energy goes where energy flows. Energy goes where energy flows. That's the saying. So no matter what we're putting our energy into, energy will flow there, whether it be positive or negative. You have to ask yourself, do you want the positive energy or do you want the negative energy? Okay, so nearly there. Genius, it's going to be long. I'll have to break it up. So, okay, so energy works in numerous benefits in relation to stress and fear. So restores balance, restoring balance. So energy work techniques aim to restore balance and harmonize the disrupted energy systems, helping to alleviate physical and emotional manifestations of stress and anxiety. And it also releases the triggers. It also releases, from the original hurt. Well, I would always bring that in. Not that we go back and look for it, but it'll always release from the original hurt. And that's huge, because then when we become aware of them, we take control then of it. So when we start to become aware and say, oh yeah, that's something now that's manifested, that's my trigger. And that comes up as a pattern or a behavior or, a habit, then I can say, well, I don't want that anymore. Or I'll put it, and this is what I always do. I give everybody a wellness plan. We do some tapping. We'll always put a coping mechanism in there to be able to cope with that, whatever that is, whatever that trigger is. So again, you'll get an emotional release. So through energy work, suppressed or stagnant emotions can be released, providing relief and facilitating emotional healing. So yes, some people try and when they come in and they're saying, I swore I wasn't going to cry today. It's okay to cry. It's a release. Some people will have the release in the bed. Some people will have a release 24 hours later, because it takes 24 hours to 48 hours for the energy to flow through every cell of your body. That's okay. Some people will just get up off the bed and say, that's it. I got it. I understand it. So emotional releases of suppressed and stagnant energy. Something might come to the mind and say, God, I didn't even know that affected me, but I'm glad it's gone. So that's, awareness is key. And relaxation and calm. So energy work techniques such as Reiki or acupuncture, and all of them, reflexology, bioenergy, all of these, again, promote a deep deep relaxation, and they activate the body's natural relaxation response. So even essential oils, if you get that aroma touch massage that Donna does, and I think of her name right now. But Donna Broderick, we will get her on anyways as well. But back into homeostasis, like we're never going to be so completely relaxed, but we want to be hovering above here or below here. So if you're listening to the audible, I'm just putting my hands a little bit above and a little bit below for homeostasis. So we can have a little bit of the heightenedness and a little bit of the deep relaxation. But that's enough. It's enough for clarity. It's enough for relaxation. It's enough for healing. It's enough for awareness. It's enough to bring you forward, to move you forward. I mean, right now, we're in a space where we have to start believing that we deserve so much more. We have to start believing that, to love ourselves, we have to start taking responsibility for ourselves and saying, if I heal me, if I work on me, if I create these changes in my life, then everybody else will be okay. We spent so long, working on other people, making sure that everybody else is okay. And, if you've got stresses, if you've got anxiety, if you've got fear, if you've got any of these things, that we've talked about tonight, then you have to look at it and say, you have to make either to the end of this year or 2024, if you're listening to this about you, take 1 year of your life to change, whether that's exercise, health, fitness, energy. You're going to thank yourself because you're going to become a new person, not an egotistic person, not somebody that's I'm going to become amazing and then I'm going to leave everybody. No, you become a better version of yourself, an empowered version of yourself. And that feels good. It really, really does feel good. It feels good to be able to be the best version of you, to show up authentically. And I love that because, for me, everything that I've been through, I just know that all of this was my journey. Was it shit at the time? Yeah, absolutely it was. But I know it was my journey. And I don't ever look back at it with anything, only I'm so grateful for where I am right now. Gratitude is a huge thing, but we'll talk about that another day. Gratitude is a huge thing, but you're the only one that can change you. You have the power inside of you. You have everything that you need inside of you. And if we start working from the inside out, amazing changes will happen. Absolutely amazing changes. And I can only promise you that. And it doesn't take long. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer for others. But if you stay consistent, you stay working on it, amazing things happen. And this can help then reduce stress, anxieties, fears, and allowing a greater emotional stability and mental clarity. And once you have that, and we're not going to have it every day, especially when we throw in a couple of hormones into the body every month, but like, you'll have you will live a good life. You will live, you will have that best part of you shown. And then everything else that comes, around it that used to bother you, that used to worry you, just won't seem to worry you or bother you anymore. Become the true version of yourself. And I believe, that, energy work is definitely one way to do it. One way to allow yourself to feel this feeling. Give yourself permission. Give yourself that's where I'm going to leave it at. Give yourself permission to love yourself. Give yourself permission to change. Give yourself permission now to let go, to move forward, and whatever that looks like. If you're doing energy work, it's so much better than where we're at. So that is the last one, I think. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for listening. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll do something in a couple of weeks as well. And then I'll still have the guests on as well. So we'll just talk about the therapies themselves. So thank you, everybody, for listening. You know, it was a long one. But again, sometimes like that, when I'm left to my own devices, I ramble on. But again, it's all relevant. And if you're listening to this, you know, and you need change and you want change, that's whatever about need, you know, and you want it, then ask yourselves those couple of questions. You know, what do I need to do to create the life that I deserve? And like, place your hand. I always say to people, you know, place your hand in your heart at night time. You know, if you don't know how to get out of such a certain situation, if you don't know how to move forward, you know, just place your hand on your heart. You know, ask for that guidance. Ask for that, and just say, I give myself permission now to love myself, and everything. People who you need will come. The information that you need will come. You know, and your energy will change. I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, everybody. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.